fourth episode begins with Dexter Morgan and Harry Morgan debating whether Dexter should go to the dinner party or not. Dexter practically decides he's going when he makes a fake print of Red's thumb and attaches it to his. Elsewhere, Elsa Rivera gives Harrison Morgan tips for putting on a tip-getting face. This is interrupted when Harrison receives a call from Quentin's jewelry repair. The repair shop tells him that the watch is ready for pickup. He tells them that he is tied up at work. They ask the guest's name and say they can drop it off at the hotel. He tells them he will come by and get it. Dexter meets Charlie in the park and gets in her car. On the way to the party, they briefly chat, and he asks her how she figured out he was the car killer. She says she has her ways, but he was a tricky one. He also asks for a heads up about the meeting, but she is unable to provide any information. At the party, Dexter is searched before trying his thumbprint. It takes several tries, but he gets it to work. After a short ride down the elevator, he meets Leon Prater. Leon tells Dexter he knows how unnerving it can be for someone like him to come to a place like this, but it is a totally safe place. Dexter asks him if he, too, is a killer. Leon says that he is just a huge fan and doesn't have the skill set that he and the other have. Leon then shows Dexter around the manor. In the process, he learns more about Leon and his career. Shortly after that, Leon shows Dexter his collection of serial killer memorabilia. Dexter asks if his other guests are okay with him keeping all this evidence around. Leon says they trust him. It isn't long after this that Mia Lapierre shows up and spends several minutes admiring Leon's wine collection. Leon introduces her to Dexter and leaves them to chat. Dexter and Mia share a glass of wine before Al shows up. Dexter spends a few minutes getting acquainted with him before Lowell shows up. Elsewhere, Angel Batista shows up at Lance Thomas's place, looking for the truck he supposedly bought from Jim Lindsay. Lance tells him that he bought the truck from his buddy Harrison. Gareth shows up right before dinner is served. During dinner, Al asks if Keith is coming. Leon says that they have one rule: never turn on the group, and Keith chose to break that rule. After dinner, Lowell gives a little slideshow and tells the group about his next victim, Jules. Leon tells Dexter that he hopes he'll feel comfortable sharing next time. Batista meets up with Harrison at the Empire Hotel and tells him about his sister babysitting him. Harrison just happens to remember her and asks how she is doing. Batista asks him to have a drink with him, but Harrison tries to say that he needs to clock in. Batista asks him if part of his job isn't tending to customers. Harrison says, "Good point." They spend a few minutes reminiscing before Batista tells Harrison that he was in Iron Lake a few weeks ago because of Dexter. Harrison asks him if he heard the news about him being shot and killed. Batista offers his condolences. Batista also asks why Harrison was in Iron Lake. Harrison says he went to look for Dexter and found him, but he turned out to be someone different from what he was looking for. Batista says he had a similar experience with Dexter, then asks if Dexter ever shared any of his past with Harrison. Harrison says that he needs to get back to work. Before Harrison can leave, Batista tells him about his ex-wife's theory of Dexter being the Bay Harbor butcher. Harrison laughs it off and says he doesn't know what he's talking about. Batista ends up giving him his card. Elsa sees the two of them talking, and when Harrison leaves, she confronts Batista and tells him Harrison has nothing to do with Ryan Foster's murder. Mia catches Dexter looking her up online and admits that she also tried looking him up, but couldn't find anything. She tries guessing his origin story, but doesn't get close. Dexter asks her what this gathering is about and what Leon is getting out of the whole thing. She tells him that she can talk tomorrow, just the two of them. After that, the evening concludes and Charlie passes out phones so she can get in touch about the next meeting. After picking up Ryan's watch, Harrison is haunted by it. He tries hiding it in the safe, but can still hear it ticking. This causes him to go over to Elsa's house. She invites him in. After returning home, Dexter texts Mia and arranges a meeting for tomorrow. Harrison spends the evening watching TV with Elsa. Right before he heads out, she asks if he wants to spend the night on the couch. He accepts and tells her that she always makes him feel really at home. He then tries to kiss her, and she backs away. After that, he gets up and walks out. The next day, Dexter watches Harrison work and talks with Harry about the dinner party. After a few minutes of arguing, Dexter calls Lowell and asks if he wants to meet up. Lowell agrees and hangs up. Dexter then meets Mia for a jog. They spend most of the time talking about Leon and the gatherings. Dexter also manages to learn a bit more about Mia and her childhood. They end up hitting it off so well that Dexter goes back to her Airbnb after the run. Back at the Airbnb, Mia shares her collection of trophies with Dexter. She then tells him she is going to take a shower and offers him the opportunity to make an espresso in the kitchen. As soon as she gets in the shower, he remembers his happy hour meeting with Lowell and tells her that he has to leave. When Dexter meets Lowell at the bar, Lowell asks if he can take a rain check. Dexter asks why, and Lowell tells him that he has to get ready for the kill because Jules has surprisingly finished her tattoo early. Lowell then proceeds to tell him his whole plan for taking out Jules and excuses himself. Detective Melvin Olivia notices that Detective Claudette Wallace is still fixating on Harrison being the killer and tells her to be careful. He then reminds her that she once did the same thing with the New York Ripper, and it almost cost her. Before the conversation gets much further, Batista interrupts them. Jules is walking home when Lowell approaches her from behind with his mask of knockout gas. Before he can get to her, Dexter gets to him and uses the mask on him. Dexter takes Lowell to the tattoo parlor next door, where he has set up an elaborate kill room. Before Dexter kills Lowell, he asks him why he keeps the skins. Lowell says he likes looking at them when the pressure builds because they calm him. Dexter says he understands what he means and takes a sample of Lowell's blood like he used to back in the old days. Dexter reveals his true identity before he kills Lowell. After killing Lowell, Dexter tells Harry that he would rather have a relationship with Harrison than anyone at Leon's place, but it isn't solely his decision. Dexter then takes Lowell to the same incinerator where he burned red. Harrison is at the hotel when he runs into Lance. Lance asks him if he sold him a stolen truck. Harrison says it was his dad's truck. Lance asks why a cop showed up at his place. Harrison says he doesn't know. Lance tells him he'd better figure it out because he's right over there. Batista shows up and asks to buy Harrison a cup of coffee. Batista tells him about hearing about Ryan and him being killed in the same manner the Bay Harbor butcher did. Batista also tells him about speaking with Claudette. Despite this, he says he didn't mention Harrison to her, but in the process, learned that Ryan was a pretty bad guy. Batista asks if Dexter told him that he was some sort of dark avenger, taking out the bad guys. Batista then tells him that innocent people have died because of Dexter. Harrison tells him it sounds like he is going down a real conspiratorial rabbit hole and walks off. After speaking with Batista, Harrison calls Claudette, but doesn't get a hold of her. Instead of leaving a message, he hangs up and walks to the police station. Just as he's about to go in, Dexter stops him.